Also developing this lunchtime, Cosatu says it's geared up for battle in the ongoing dispute with government over public sector wage deals. The Trade Union Federation has given a briefing this afternoon at the end of its Central Executive Committee meeting. Government recently tabled a wage increase offer of 1.5% after it initially said that it could not afford to pay workers any sort of increment this year. Unions have since rejected that offer. For more on this, then bring in eNCA's reporter Govan Whittles, who was at the CEC briefing. Govan, let's start with... We'll get to the wage negotiations. I want us to start with the comments made by Cosatu on the vaccine rollout.
Yeah, Tembekile, so Cosatu scathing in their criticism of the vaccine rollout and specifically the targets that have been set by the health department to vaccinate the remaining number of outstanding health workers that haven't received their vaccinations. Cosatu says its CEC got the impression that government's targets are unreasonable, and it's requested a meeting with the health minister, Zweli Mkhize, to understand why they've set these targets, to get a proper explanation of the pace of the vaccine rollout, and then also get a further understanding of what they could do as representatives of these health workers at public and private hospitals to speed that up. So that meeting is scheduled to get underway in a short while. We understand that this afternoon they'll be having a meeting of the Secretariat of the Alliance partners, and that's when they'll be able to get a firmer answer on when that will happen.
A lot of fighting talk still going on the issue of the public sector wage deals. We've got negotiations for the current financial year, but there's still the issue of the looming court battle in the Concourt over a 2018 multi-year agreement. What's Cosatu saying?
Their approach is two-pronged here. Firstly, they're telling the unions that are currently in negotiations with the state for these wages to continue with the meetings and keep the hope alive that they will receive a revised offer that's much better and would prevent any sort of confrontation, while at the same time preparing themselves to go to the streets and preparing themselves to achieve what they had demanded almost by any means necessary. And Cosatu's statement here has an important caveat where they arguing for the promotion of relationships between different unions, regardless of which federation they belong to. More clearly, they're talking about the Public Servants Association here and the Cosatu unions. The PSA has already declared a dispute. It's indicated it's willing to go to the streets and strike for this improved offer. Cosatu unions, on the other hand, are still negotiating with the state, hoping to get a better offer. And it seems like Cosatu as a federation wants any sort of labour action to take place jointly with the PSA. And then, of course, Cosatu also saying that it's willing to go to the streets to get the third year implemented from the 2018 wage agreement. If you would recall, the Labour Appeals Court ruled that government is not obliged to pay the third year increase because it didn't believe that the Minister of Finance giving approval for the third year agreement was the same as Treasury's negotiating committee giving that approval. It's a technical argument. It'll be in the Constitutional Court soon. But let's have a look at what Cosatu had to say about what this means for possible strikes.
The Federation offers its full support to the Public Service Union and hopes that ongoing negotiation will result in a settlement to avert a possible strike. But unions will continue to mobilize for any eventuality and remain battle ready. The meeting called on all unions in the public services and in the private sector to increase their cooperation and partnership and not allow narrow disagreement and technical differences to divide them. Cosatu was founded on the principle of unity and solidarity of all workers. No union or federation can take forward the current struggle alone. We all need to coordinate and formulate relations with other workers in South Africa and around the world.
Cosatu speaking, Njali ending that update by eNCA's Govan Whittles on the conclusion of the Central Executive Committee. Central Executive Committee meeting, I beg your pardon. Thank you very much for that, Govan.